Chinatown is one of our very, very special areas. It's where thousands of visitors come each day, workers, residents and tourists to our city. So far we have done works in Kimber Lane, in Little Hay Street and in Factory Street. I think one of the most important things we do at the city is the work we do in our public places where people want to meet, do business, chat with their friends, and so in each of our villages we make a special effort to create some beautiful public domain, and that's what we've done in Chinatown.
My name's Lindy Lee and I'm the artist who's been appointed to be part of the design team to strengthen the heart of Sydney's Chinatown. Chinatown is an incredibly vital place. It's always full of activity. The heart of Chinatown is Sussex Street, Hay Street, Dixon Street and Thomas Street where they intersect. Right where we're standing, inscribed into this ground is going to be maybe a 6 or 7 metre circle of splashed bronze. And that is actually going to be the threshold into this new space called the New Century Garden.
My name's Jane Irwin, I'm the landscape architect for this project.
Philip Tallis, I'm the architect and urban designer.
We work together off and on projects in the city, using the complementarity of landscape architecture and architecture really to develop a spatial understanding of the city. So we've been working on the Thomas Street project with Lindy Lee and complementing what her ideas are for the art and trying to ground those.
The culture of this part of Sydney is quite different to the culture of other parts of the city, and I think it's important in cities not to homogenise everything with one hand. And so Chinatown is an authentic place in the city. The markets have really marked this place. The geometry of the streets is quite particular. What you want to do is magnify the opportunities for these attributes. You don't want to then suppress them or deny them or inhibit them in any way.
We love all of these old grocery stores. We love the history of this area. Part of the idea of maintaining the integrity of the street life is to close down this part of Thomas Lane and make it into a shared zone. So it's going to be incredibly pedestrian friendly, but it's still going to allow access to the general everyday business.
We've actually taken the opportunity here to create more of a square in this area and a linear garden, trees, seats and areas of respite.
The theme that we're working on for that area is the cup floating stream. In ancient Chinese gardens, there would be this serpentine stream that was carved into the pavement. A cup of wine would float down. You were challenged to write a verse of poetry by the time it floated around this stream.
All of these elements become a part of the street. They're functional art elements, which we both think is really fun because then people can use them in that everyday way.
Public art is so much more engaging because it's actually available and people can work with it. So there's no, do not touch this or do not sit on this. Go for it.
In the design of this garden, what's important to remember is that tradition and the contemporary are not in opposition. What's really important is that they're part of a continuum, and that continuum allows the future to unfold with vitality. When we think about Chinese gardens, one really dominant image is these incredibly gnarled old rocks that appear as part of the spirit of the earth. It takes enormous, immense pressure to make them. We're coming up with a way to make these splashes and make them into these things called scholar rocks. I'm very excited because our prototypes, misshapen bronze pieces that are alive and feel as if they're on fire. Haymarket, Market City, is an incredibly beautiful building, but it's also quite harsh. So we're going to suspend catenary discs, which will allow shade and a sense of softening of this area.
What's happening here is that the street's getting wider. This part of the street will become all pedestrian, and this is where the artworks are.
We're trying to rebalance the streets. We're not trying to exclude the car outright. We're trying to give the pedestrians the primacy which they deserve and which they're clearly not getting at the moment.
When thinking about the kinds of seating, wanting to make a relationship between city and nature, we're going to create specially designed and cut boulders that are more organic, hopefully are warmer and more inviting. The ground plane, it's going to be paved with concentric circles, and those concentric circles are meant to represent water because fire and water are important symbols within Chinese mythologies, but also they are the predominant experiences, weather experiences of Australia. I think people have to understand just how important this particular Chinatown is. I'm a Brisbane girl, but my father, back in the 50s and 60s, used to drive down from Brisbane to Sydney to come to these very shops in order to buy the family rice, the family herbs, spices, everything that couldn't be bought in Brisbane. This Chinatown has been the heart of the Chinese community, not just in Sydney, but throughout Australia. So the space that we want to create will be one of harmony and activity and excitement.